Welcome to Steve's Cottage with Steve Horner. Steve Horner, a former radio talk show host, helps spotlight the source of today's social chaos while offering practical solutions to the problems negatively affecting you and your family. And now, here's Steve.
Hello, everybody. Steve Horner here from stevehornersbooks.com. And I have my podcast wherever you get your podcasts, on whatever platform. It's called Steve's Cottage. And, of course, the books are for sale at stevehornerbooks.com. Well, I'm your host here with the most, and if the cottage is rocking, well, don't you bother knocking, because you're exactly the type of person that we want in to enjoy the program. Now, listen. You don't have to agree with every single one of my opinions or viewpoints on everything that we're talking about here, okay? I just want you to understand that every issue has different viewpoints. And by knowing that, it might sharpen your ability to make the proper choice for you and your family and society on any given issues. But if you ignore my sage advice, I don't care. Because as I've told you before, you can lead a horse to water, but what you can't make the poor sap drink. So if the poor sucker wants to die of thirst, and it becomes evident, and the buzzards are circling, I'm just going to grab my saddle and bedroll and walk off. And let the poor, dumb animal die. And that's always been my attitude here. There's just too many opportunities out there for you to not be a patriot, for you to be anything but happy, satisfied, harmonious, and helpful to society and your family. Now, I realize that this is going to break your heart, but this is episode number 70, and it's my last program. Oh, there we go again. Thanks a lot, whiners. Yeah, thanks a lot. Well, you'll be sorry. Because over the last 3 years and the 70 episodes, it has become quite evident to me that I have been speaking vicariously for you for the last 3 years. But now I'll be gone. And you'll have to stand on your own 2 feet and shout your opinions from the tallest steeple. Can you do that? I hope so. I hope I've inspired you to do some of that. But you see, my 70 episodes of Steve's Cottage will never go out of style. Just like my self-written books at stevehornerbooks.com. They're timeless. My three principles of bringing about a perfectly harmonious society are presented in every episode, albeit in a variety of ways, just to keep your attention and offer some fun entertainment. But the 3 principles don't go away. Apathy, the source of your information, and women, particularly women in public policy making. But first, let's do a little cleanup time. Oh, yeah, we got little John Lennon doing a little cleanup time. Yeah, let's clean up some of that from the last episode. From number 69. Woo! Yes, sir, Johnny. Now, in my last episode, I spoke of what I and some of my friends like most about President Trump. I said I like his style. I like his swagger, but what I want to explain about that is that swagger, and some call it arrogance, some say haughty and prideful, and they think that's sinful, but what it is, same as Muhammad Ali, my favorite boxer of all time, he had that swagger, that haughty, that pride, that confidence. It comes from confidence. You see, that's a fun thing to have. That swagger comes from confidence, and this is important. Confidence comes from experience. And that experience will give you learning episodes. And people learn from their wins and their losses. Like, for instance, I wasn't always confident in front of a microphone, but now it's like second nature. I have a ball with it. It's fun. It's satisfying. It's uplifting. And if you're hesitant about doing something, here's my advice. If you're hesitant about doing something, but you want to do it, just go ahead and jump in the water. Make sure you wear your life vest because you don't want to drown with your first experience. Be prepared. Be proactive. Be a man with your pragmatism. Cause and effect. Remember that. And get wet. Otherwise, if you don't, and you're going to sit on the sidelines for the rest of your life, you're going to remain cowardly, and you're going to be a taker in life rather than a maker. We want all makers. We want you to get out there and make things instead of take. So let's get back to those 3 principles that I spotlight on each of my 70 episodes. Apathy means being indifferent. I don't care. It's not my problem. I don't have any mirrors at home. I don't know who's to blame. So let somebody else do it. If I speak up, I'm going to lose my job or I'm going to lose my sweetheart. But when it comes to apathy, Thomas Jefferson, second president, he had some real good words of wisdom. He says that when I reflect that God is just, I tremble. Think about it. He wants you to get off the couch and get involved. Be a man, be patriotic. If you've been a slacker, a just God might be frowning on you. A newsletter from the days of the Revolution in 1775, Boswell's Life wrote about apathy. Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. Huh? Patriotism is the last refuge of a scoundrel. That sounds similar to like there are no atheists in foxholes. It's the last ditch thing. I don't believe in God. Oh my God, please help me, dear Jesus, I'm sorry. Please forgive me of my sins. Same thing with patriotism. I got to get involved now. Oh my God, the dog is in my backyard crapping. He's chewing on my 2-year-old in the playpen. I've got to get involved now. Too late. Okay? If that's your last refuge, then you're a scoundrel. You've got to get involved earlier. Because God doesn't want him to be your last refuge. Pave the trail as you go. Harry Truman shouted to the world about apathy. He says, keeping working families afloat. He says, I'll put a chicken in every pot. Well, folks, unfortunately, these days there seems to be pot in every chicken. Too many men choose to remain on the sideline, smoking a doob, enjoying a cerveza fria, okay, instead of letting his opinions be known. He doesn't want to get involved. Chicken. Remember the formula for building a character, your character. Thoughts become words. If you're thinking that something's wrong, then jump in and start talking about it. Words then become actions. You become proactive. Actions, or reactive, that's okay as long as you're getting the job done. Action, but proactive is always better. Action becomes habits, and habits become character. And character is everything. Now, You know, America dodged a huge bullet in the last election, right? But the cunts, commies, and commie sympathizers, and you know that when I say the word cunts here, it refers to my pink book, which is an acronym, C period, U period, N period, T period. It's at stevehornerbooks.com. There it is, up there on the screen. Thank you, Sean, my magnificent engineer, marketer, and engineer and promoter. And the pink book is an acronym standing for Can't Understand Normal Thinking. So when the cunts, commies, and commie sympathizers are still out there, probably still at 50%, as indicated by the huge crowds attracted by the likes of Bernie Sanders and the commie cunt from out east, AOC. What's she even doing in the country? My gosh. You know, you gotta be proactive. And they're still out there. Today, Chuck Schumer, the Jewish minority speaker in the Senate, reported that President Trump's first 100 days in office have been the most ineffective of any president. You see, he thinks we're all stupid, but 50% of us are. Like sheep, follow along. Oh, he hasn't been doing a good job for the last 100 days. I knew something was up. The Jew Schumer comes along with the Jew Associated Press, and they stir up the pot, try to make Trump look like a dipshit, you see? But he's not. He's been the best president the United States has ever seen, with the likely exception of possibly Washington and Lincoln, as I've mentioned in one of my last episodes. But shabby characters will always believe that outrageous lie that the Jew-run Associated Press and faulty leaders like Chuck Schumer want to promote. They also might believe the lies and slanted stories that Jewish-run Associated Press and mass electronic media say about everything. About crime, homelessness, busted families, Hollywood movies, drugs, schools, abortion. The Jew is a parasite who feasts on the underbelly of America. And this is one of these features of all my podcasts at Steve's Cottage that you will hear about and be convinced to follow. Apathy is number one, the source of your news. I'm saying the Jew-run press, the Associated Press, and the electronic media have had slanted liberal viewpoints, and that's why Karl Marx and the rest of the Jews, along with their Communist Manifesto, were kicked out of 14 countries before finally being allowed to re-enter Germany. And guess what? That didn't end very well for the Jews, did it? Prior to World War II. The Jews make billions on these industries, like the homeless industry. That is up until Donald Trump now has shut down their funding. This is all part of the swamp being drained. And all these other social wrecking balls orchestrated by greedy Jews. And when they see the results of all those nasty liberal policies that Jews and other liberals have promoted, they see that the big dog has been allowed to come in and crap in their backyard. Oh, wait a minute. Who let that dog in? Oh, the dog is chewing on the face of my 2-year-old. Oh, shit. How did this happen? Well, it happened because you didn't do anything when that dog was circling your neighborhood. You chump. You pasty-faced, do-nothing liberal. Even though you might call yourself a conservative, you're allowing it to happen. Just because Trump's in doesn't mean it's going to end. You got to keep fighting, because already guys like Chuck Schumer and the rest of them, they're slanting a different story, saying he's a do-nothing president. But you know better. But the 50% out there, the Bernie Sanders and AOC, they're going to say, I told you, Trump's a criminal. He's bad. And then we get right back into the swamp. So you have to be proactive. But I'm telling you, as more and more people become hip to the lies of the Jews, the anti-Semitism keeps rising. Because throughout history, Jews have created their own problems with self-inflicted wounds through their liberalism. They really should be more like team players. They should stop being parasites, and they really should start being team players. I'm not saying acquiesce to anything about your religion, about your culture, the Hebrew people. A lot of history there. I'm just saying it's the liberalism that the Jews come to the table with that a lot of people don't like. And when they figure it out and they see that it's the Jews who promote all this nastiness from A to Z, abortion to Zionism, then they point the finger at you, and they're angry and they want revenge. I want to curb this before that revenge starts. I'm just saying, let's everybody be team leaders and work for the harmonious well-being of our families, our spouses, our kids, our schools, our society. Instead of being your own problem and inflicting those self-inflicted wounds. Stop being a parasite. Start being a team player, or that anti-Semitism will continue. And that's what we see in the Jew-run country and territories of Ukraine. It's a Jewish war again, just like the Middle East. The Jews just keep spitting in the face of their adversaries. Trump has just about had enough of it, hasn't he? He's just about ready to back off. That's not going to be a pretty scene for the Middle East or Ukraine. He's been trying to get these people to the peace table. But the Jews, just like the Hatfields and the McCoys back in the United States, back in the 80s or 1880s, just after the Civil War, I hate you because you did this to my wife. I did this because you did this to my daughter. I did this because you did this to my pig. I did this because you did this to my sheep. Bam, 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 bam. Hatfields and McCoys. Bam, bam, bam. Got you. Total chaos for years and years, shooting and killing each other. That's just like the Jews and the Palestinians in the Middle East and the Russians and the Ukrainians. Russians don't want these missiles set up on the border aiming at Moscow with their admission into NATO. That's the whole thing. They don't want it. Do you blame them? Now, women in public policy making, that's the third key of these features that I present on my episodes. You don't want these sentimental women in public policy making positions. You can see with your own spouse. She's the one who says, don't you spank that child. Oh, those poor Mexicans on the border, right? Same thing. It's the sentimentalism. Why do you want that in public policy making is beyond me. You have to hire them. That's the law, but you don't have to vote for them. And I talked to you about what the Bible says about all these women in public policy making and in the churches and in business. And I sorted it all out, talking to you about Timothy and Corinthians, and that's in episode number 68. I tell you what the Bible says about the subject. But you can see from the evidence that just by taking a brisk walk around the block, that the problem is horseshit parenting. They talk about autism. That's horseshit parenting. They talk about public schools. Horseshit parenting. Who promotes these god-awful, slanted social policies? It's the Jews. They make money off of it. The homelessness, the welfare, the handouts. Families headed by single-parent women Who promotes these? Jews, women. Women are in the forefront of feminism back in the 70s. They're the ones that promoted, government-paid abortions, that women should be able to be divorced the moment the guy comes home and, his fart smells bad. That's a slippery slope for the kids and the whole family right from the beginning. But the sentimental woman became in charge. No pragmatism, no understanding of cause and effect. That's what happened. And you remember that's the history lesson, okay? Don't let anybody tell you different. Families headed by single-parent women, these women are elected to public offices. They're failures, crime, debt, the whole thing. Every society that they're in charge of is crumbled, is busted. The debt soars, the crime soars. The public learning institutions headed by women, busted. Flops. They lack pragmatism, no cause and effect. Keep the men in charge. They understand how to connect the pieces of the puzzle. If I do this, this is likely to happen. So you just remember that these are the keys that I am promoting on all of my past podcasts called Steve's Cottage. And you can go to your favorite podcast platform and you'll be able to continue to enjoy these programs even after I'm off the air, you see, with Steve's Cottage, with this 25-minute program. You'll still be able to see the whole history of my 70 podcasts, because I'm going to keep paying the server for a year or two and just see what happens. I hope I hear from you. Steve at stevehornerbooks.com. But they are timeless information, timeless entertainment and advice. But for now, I'm getting a cue here from Sean. It's time to wrap it up, and I have planned to wrap it up here with a program. Now, don't start that yet, Sean, because there's a history to the TV show of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, and with the Trigger, which was his favorite, which was his horse, and his wonder dog called Bullet. And they did 100 episodes in the 50s. And it was the Roy Rogers show. And they were always moral, upbeat. Some even had a Christian tone to them. And that was a popular program. And then they retired and they bought a hacienda out there in Apple Valley near Victorville, up in the high desert of eastern California. And so that went good up until 1964. That's when they retired. But I see in the few years later, that was sold and now is occupied by another owner. Well, so anyhow, that's the way it goes. And I'd like to close out now with that with a tune from that Roy Rogers show, and it's Happy Trails to You. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again. All right, well, here we go. Come on, Trigger, let's head off. Atta boy. Yeah, we're gonna head off into the sunset. Hey, wait a minute. If we're gonna buy Donald Trump and mucho macho cerveza fria, we're going the wrong way, boy. Well, let's turn it around and start heading toward the sunrise. Yes, sir. Because in the sunrise, that's going to be part of our life. No more of those sunsets, Trigger. We're going to enjoy the sunrises. Goodbye, all you apathetic, sympathetic, diabolical denizens of know-nothing, do-nothing USA. Adios, amigos. Here we go, enjoying the sunrise and the triumphal march into Washington and Mar-a-Lago. Adios, amigos.
Thanks for joining us. Visit Steve's Cottage again with Steve Horner.